Now, I know this show that you did, that people are watching bits of
Mhm.
throughout this DVD, you use a trio format, right?
Right.
Can you explain the appeal of a trio format to a guitar player?
Completely different. Completely different for the drummer, for the bass player, and for
Mhm.
me. And what I mean by that is, I'm of the opinion you have to complement each other.
Mhm.
So if I were to add a keyboard,
Mm-hmm.
I'd
Another-
have to back off my guitar
Okay,
because I wouldn't be covering a rhythm part that the keyboard might be able to
right,
fill in.
right.
Or I wouldn't be adding fills.
Mm-hmm.
And I've kept as a trio because I've found that the more pieces I add, the more I start backing off the guitar.
Okay, yeah.
And the more I become kind of normal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a word I should use, but the more I become, I'm not doing something that somebody else isn't doing.
Right, right.
And the style that you have to learn as a trio is basically covering all the rhythm
Mm-hmm.
while accenting a lead as if you were two guitars.
Right, right.
You know, and
Yeah.
that's
And then you
that's
have to have
not
a-
easy to do.
Right, and you need a rhythm section who can have a foundation that you
Yes.
can always come back to.
Right, and the bass player might have to play
Yeah.
a different run than he might play if somebody else was covering something else. So
Mhm, mhm.
everybody has to find that part.
Yeah. So in other words, the more pieces you add to a band, the less freedom everybody in the band would have. Does that make, is that?
Less freedom, I guess, but the less
Maybe-
on their, like, I like it tense.
Yeah.
I like them to be like, nothing I ever do, people say, oh, you have your set list or something. I was like, I don't have a set list.
Yeah.
You know, I've always been of the belief that if you're thinking, you're stinking.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So I purposely, and sometimes I'll get caught up in this and I'll have to ask the bass player, give me a song. Because I just drew a blank. But
Right.
usually I just try to let it go and we go.
Yeah.
So they don't know where I'm going. They
Yeah.
don't know what key I'm gonna go
Yeah.
in. They don't know anything.
Yeah.
But it keeps them so they're
There's a lot of
spontaneous.
spontaneity.
I
Yeah.
can't stand, and blues is not a music, to me anyways, that
No.
I like rehearsed.
Yeah.
You know, with the, we're gonna do an accent here and this and that. It's like,
Yeah.
that's not it.
No, no, it's gotta be spontaneous.
It's gotta be spontaneous, real, and coming from somewhere.
Right.
You know, I try to say, I try to give people something they can't buy.
Yeah, yeah.
They go home with something they didn't come with.
That's right. And they're not gonna go home with the same thing tomorrow night.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
Each night is gonna be a little bit different Albert Cummings.
Even if it's the same song.
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
And that's come back to bite me too,
Has
because
it?
people will hear things on the album and expect me to come to a show and play the exact same thing on the
Yeah.
album. And I'm literally, this is no joke, I have literally heard myself on an album and told myself, you gotta learn that.
Yeah,
You know, I hear that a little while later and
Yeah.
I just don't
Yeah.
process like that, I just play.
yeah, 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 from the heart, yeah.
I'm not-
What's this journey been like now since From the Heart for these, was it been 10 years
Yeah, it's,
or 8?
no, it's probably like 12.
Okay,
11,
12 since the, okay. So what's
Yeah.
the journey been like in this time period for
Well,
Albert
I
Cummings?
feel like
For
I'm a completely different player than I was when I was younger.
Mhm.
And I feel like it was a couple years ago when I finally realized my voice
Ah,
is the fourth instrument in the band.
yeah.
I was always a guitar player, a secondary singer,
Mhm.
and now I try to be at least equal but more of a singer.
Right, right.
And you mature, you start getting into the songs, and
Yeah.
my writing's improved, and all that improves. And it doesn't matter if I'm playing some gig where it's 6 people in the crowd, and I just am having the worst night ever. It's good to have that bad night because it's
Yeah.
carving that, whatever, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
carving that wooden duck or
That's
whatever you're.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all part of that.
Piece of art,
Everything
yeah.
you do is an experience, and it teaches you somehow.
Yeah, yeah. And you're meeting great people too, like
Well, that's
Jim,
the-
like Jim Gaines, who you've got
Yeah, I mean,
producing.
this is the craziest thing. It's
Yeah.
like this is what happened with the Double Trouble, but like Thackeray's going to come and do this show
Mhm.
right here,
Yeah, yeah,
and I guarantee I'll be there that night.
Yeah, right.
Because I love Jimmy Thackeray, and him and I are great friends, and Smoking Joe Kubek, and
Yeah.
all of these guys that I would study
Yeah.
are now my friends.
I know.
You know, it's just like
Yeah,
that's the most fun.
that's right.
It's just so like
Yeah.
It's just, there's a great group of people involved in this music, and that's what I love about it.
I
It's
know,
not-
and it is so much soul to soul. You know, you
It
meet
totally is.
somebody
You know,
and they're your best friend, you know,
Yeah.
there's real.
it's a small family of people,
Yeah.
and you know, there's bad eggs and everything, but
Yeah,
there's,
yeah,
the majority is, and the fans the same way.
Yeah.
The people that go to these shows
yeah,
they enjoy music.
right,
You know,
right.
they enjoy that realness.
I was
enjoy
just
it.
gonna say, they enjoy
And,
that.
and it's, you know, it's sad that you can't, it can't be more commercial, I guess, or
I know.
whatever, even though it would probably ruin the intimacy of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But the young kids are just like, I don't get that. you
I know.
But they will when they're in their thirties, they'll
That's
get
right.
it, they'll start to mature and say,
that's right,
I need something more than this.
yeah.
this
Yeah, well,
beat
you're
up."
kind of, you're an interesting, discovery maybe. You come in 98, 99, just about at the time that record labels are starting to lose money.
Right.
And there's all these new ways to sell a product and
Yeah.
to publicize an artist. And now we're into the, 2005, 2006. Now we have MySpace. Now we have Facebook.
Mhm.
Now we have iTunes. What's this process been like?
Well, the good thing is I don't know what the good old days were like,
That's true.
you know,
Yeah.
and right now it's probably some of the toughest times you ever see, because, you know, the venues are closing, the gas is up, it's just hard for everybody to get there. But it's just what it is. It's
Yeah.
not gonna kill the music,
Yeah.
the music will stay alive.
Yeah. Are you finding things like social media, the internet, iTunes, download a song?
Mhm.
Are you finding that to be a profitable way to expand your fan bases?
Yeah, I mean, you have to go with it, you have
Yeah.
to, it's like I kinda say about, I like to venture off into what I like to do as well as pay homage to what
Mm-hmm.
I've learned. And it's the same thing with the media thing.
Yeah.
You can't expect to do things the way it was done
Right.
10 years ago.
Right.
Because everybody's mindset's changed, and I feel that way about music. I like to be able to present music to people in a way that they can understand it. And today, it's almost a different language. So, sometimes the traditionalists say, "Well, you can't do that," but and I respect what they're saying. You don't want to take too far away,
Mhm.
but for me to create a show that's understandable to the mass,
Yeah.
I've got to create something that
Reaches.
maybe doesn't make. I can't make one person happy and the
Right.
rest not. I have to,
Yeah.
but I mostly do it for myself. So the same thing with these media outlets,
Yeah.
and I'm not the greatest guy with this stuff, but you have to jump on this. I
Yeah.
mean, now think about it. You can do a show and the next day
I saw-
somebody in Greece is watching.
That's
you.
right. That's right.
So
Yeah.
I look at that now differently
Yeah.
than I used to, and that's taken a realization, because it doesn't take long with watching some YouTube videos on phone cameras
Right.
that I've had, sometimes, oh, that's the greatest show I've ever had. I mean, that show last night, we were driving, and
Yeah.
then you say, hey, it's up on, somebody posted it last night, you're
Yeah.
watching, you're like, oh my God, I don't want anybody to see this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But, so I'm very careful about that now. Not that I stop from somebody recording,
Yeah.
but what it does is it says, you better play,
Yeah.
because it's gonna sound bad, and you better give it everything you've got. So I look at myself as no matter where I am, I'm on a world stage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it is, with that mindset, it has created a whole new strength in my
Right.
playing.
That's right. Yeah.
So-
Yeah. Yeah.
It's certainly a plus as far as you're spreading the word,
Right. Right.
and it's a little bit like, there's certain things it doesn't,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
constant, the behind the scenes stuff, and all, it's just like,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
People get carried away with
Yeah.
it.
But how nice that people around the world can catch you on a YouTube show or on your
Yeah,
Facebook page.
this very,
and bang,
this
right,
very
right.
interview.
Yeah. That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
hello Italy.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
so,
right.
yeah.
Hello, everybody in Europe. Yeah. Yeah. No.
Where you couldn't get that years ago.
That's right. That's right.
And the whole music pirating,
Yeah,
it's just, it's going to happen.
That's right.
You're not gonna stop it.
No. 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 Not like you
And-
could
Yeah,
25 years ago. Now,
right.
there's a great sharing of this music, and you know, if an artist can figure out the ways to use it to their advantage,
Right,
that's gonna help you spread
right,
the
you
word.
know, I love it, and I want my people, my music to be heard by everybody,
Yeah,
so,
yeah, yeah.
you know, it's like, you know, how people come and they say at the show, they're like, well, I don't need to buy that CD because my buddy burned a copy of his.
Yeah.
It's like, and they say, you know, they're like, it's like, all right, well, I'm glad you got it.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
it's like, what am I gonna? You can't stop that. You just glad you got it. Glad you enjoy the music.
Yeah,
And there's a certain point of that you just have to accept. You
Right.
can't, you know,
Yeah.
you just can't.
yeah, that's today's world.
It's today's world, and
Yeah.
you know, you can tell people until you're blue in the face, don't do that, but
Right,
they'll do it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's just.
yeah.
There's probably technology that'll come along that'll change that somehow.
That's
but
right.
Right now,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
But-
all I can hope for is that my message is getting spread.
right, right,
If I was the Rolling Stones and I wasn't selling albums because everybody's pirate, I'd probably be upset.
yeah, yeah.
But for
you know,
me,
if
it's like, I
people
love
are-
to hear that people are hearing my music.
If people are hearing your music and they're seeing you on YouTube, and then they see you're coming to their
Right.
neighborhood to play.
Right,
You know, when you go in and see a full house, that's the
Right.
effect of this word of mouth marketing then.
right.
So it's gotta
Yeah, and
be-
that's something I wanna do too. I wanna get into that where a show just was done and
Mhm.
can be available.
Yeah.
You know, I wanna get to that point.
Yeah.
So it's there. You know,
Yeah, it
you can
is.
track me. You can track me where I am. You don't have
Right.
to necessarily be at the show. You can get the show if you
Yeah,
want.
yeah, that's great.
And you can develop a bigger fan base like that, so.
Yeah.
I try to think about everything I can think about,
But you have a
So
day
you-
job.
but so that's what you mentioned, the younger kids that are
Yeah.
coming through, that's all they know.
That's right,
So they'll have a good
yeah,
grasp on that.
yeah,
And another thing they have that we all didn't have is when I wanted to listen to something,
yeah,
and this goes back, I mean, think about people even before, like BB, before there was even records going.
that's right,
You know, you had to work.
that's right,
But I remember taking the LPs and putting the needle back
yeah,
to hear that over and over.
to learn the
Yeah.
lick or to hear
And
the
I remember
verse.
taking a cassette player,
Yeah,
recording a record, just so I could hit rewind and play it,
instead of the
to hear
needle.
that again.
Yeah, yeah,
And now you got, you know, practice things you plug into,
That's right.
they'll slow it down, they'll play the same note, you can sit there and pick it out.
yeah,
And if you can't get it that way, you go on YouTube,
yeah,
and there it is,
Yeah.
anybody's style.
watch a guy play,
And you
yeah,
watch their style and watch what they did, and
yeah,
kids have so much, you know, and we see a lot of these young kids that come in, and you're just like, oh my God.
yeah,
But, you know, I always tell the parents, get them singing, because I still saw the last city had 3 of these kids that came out. Not that there's anything bad, but I love when I see these kids play. I mean,
Yeah.
there's kids that are so small, the guitars are huge in their
I
hands,
know.
and they're ripping it up, and you're like, what are you gonna be like when you get older?
I know.
But
But-
if they don't take the channel of learning who themselves are,
Mhm.
doesn't matter how good they are.
That's right.
They'll just make a lot of noise.
And
That'll
imitate
be
it.
perfect sounds, and there's
Yeah.
tons of players like that. They make all these big sounds, and they never grab you, and they never command you.
Yeah, yeah,
That's all part of knowing yourself.
yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just had a wonderful, intimate conversation with the great Albert Cummings, and I hope that you get a chance to see him perform in your town very soon. Thank you all.